Hello guys, welcome back to Lexalexus. We are predicting the penultimate game week, week 45 of the championship, where so much is on the line, I can barely contain my excitement. We could start seeing some teams starting to get relegated. We could also start seeing some sides being automatically confirmed to be in the playoffs. Obviously, last time round there was so much drama on Easter Monday. We saw not one but two teams confirm their Premier League status. Congratulations to Leeds and Burnley. I hope and pray to you that you put up a better fight for what the other newly promoted teams have shown for this year. However, we still got the matter of deciding who's going to be in the playoffs and who's going to go down to League One. We already know Birmingham are going up. Wrexham and Wycombe and Charlton now are sort of fighting for that second automatic promotion place now. There's so many exciting things going on in the EFL, but I'm going to keep my focus on the championship. We've got 12 games to predict, and I can't lie, it's 10 to 1 in the morning. So I'm going to try and stay as animated as I can, but I'm absolutely tired. But I'm going to still sell my point that this is a really exciting game week with so much at stake. And as always, guys, there's always so much for stake for you guys, the viewers, of the Lexalexus Football Prediction League. I've nearly updated it to week 44. I think after this game week you will see an update, like a run-in, to see how many points are up for grabs potentially for the final game week, and I will of course be announcing the 3 winners after week 46. It won't carry on into the playoffs. It may carry on to the playoffs if we have a tie. That's the only time I might think of using it. But I'd like to say thank you guys for still sticking around this entire year. It's been a tough year for YouTube for me, but I gotta thank you guys for sticking around and supporting me for the best that I can. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys. But as always, guys, please do like, subscribe, and share. It really does help. 50 likes will be amazing. We're nearly at 3,000 subs. Could we maybe get it before the end of the season? Maybe unlikely, but it would be nice to get a really good push. And sharing the channel is free to do, and it really helps. But I'm already waffling on. Let's start predicting week 45 of the championship. We start things off with Stoke and Sheffield United. Sheffield United know they're going to have to settle for playoffs, but they do notoriously have a really bad playoff record. So this is something that they're going to have to get rid off their shoulders when they're going into the playoffs. And how they approach their last 2 games is going to be very interesting. You've seen teams like Sunderland confirm their playoff place, and they've actually really barely turned up as well. You know, lots of rotation in the squad. And I do think it has disrupted things, and I think their confidence is a little bit wavered at the moment. I would not advise Sheffield United goes down that route, to be honest. Stoke, I'm going to be interested to see how they recover, because they were involved in a thrashing against Leeds. It really could have been any scoreline by how Leeds performed at half-time. They probably felt a bit fortunate that Leeds kind of took it easy on them in the second half, but it was absolutely ruthless. Peak Leeds United performance that was. And that defeat, you know, don't underestimate it. It could really affect them. But Stoke on the whole have really improved at home. Sheffield United, I think, could start rotating ever so slightly, keeping players fit in the lead up to the playoffs. Therefore, as a prediction, I'm going to compromise for a draw, I think, in this one. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Sheffield United, I think, have the quality to at least get a point in this game. But I feel like Stoke will rally forward, try and get a really positive home performance to round off for what has been a rather topsy-turvy season for the Potters. Now go to one of our 2 early games, Luton and Coventry, and this game is absolutely crucial on both ends of the table. I didn't mention the importance of Stoke getting a result, you know, with them being on 50 points, because I do think to get 4 points clear with 6 points up for grabs now, I would deem it unlikely that Stoke go down, especially for the fact that we are going to see Derby, for instance, take potential points of Hull, so that's potentially another opponent which I don't think Stoke would be too worried with. But Luton, on the other hand, they're still in the bottom three. They need to try and finally get some luck to try and beat the sides around them, because it feels whenever Luton win, the sides around them also pick up points. So it's making unbelievable drama for the bottom three. But it really, really will set the tone with so many matches with this being an early kickoff. So Luton winning this game will essentially relegate Plymouth. It will put them 6 points clear of Plymouth. And because of the goal difference that Plymouth have, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Plymouth to survive in that moment, which will affect the game against Preston, which I'll be predicting later on. But Luton drop points. It then opens the door for the teams below them, Cardiff and Plymouth, of course, to potentially get one over them, but also the sides above them to maybe try and get a result. That whole derby game, for instance, is going to be crucial in that regard. Coventry, I mean, they themselves need to try and set up a playoffs. It was a tough defeat for them last time around against Plymouth, and what I am seeing ever so slightly is that they're very strong at home, and I actually think they could beat almost any side at home right now. But away from home, they're looking a little bit short. And I think this could be another game here where I think Luton will take it. They'll be really, really up for this. And I would not be surprised if Luton pick up 3 points here. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Luton. If Coventry loses, it opens the door for Middlesbrough, Millwall and Blackburn to maybe try and make up some ground. You know, Coventry in a way got a little bit lucky in the way that Middlesbrough lost their game against Sheffield Wednesday, but they didn't lose ground. Coventry are going to have a very tough last game of the season against Middlesbrough. They'll be really hoping that if they do drop points against Luton, which I deem quite likely, that Middlesbrough don't profit with their game against Norwich. Let me know what you think of the whole playoff race in the comments down below. I would dare say this could be one of the very few games that doesn't mean a lot, but there is going to be something meaningful in this game with QPR against Burnley. Burnley have got a title to try and win, so absolutely unbelievable achievement for Burnley to get promoted in the way that they did. They are still on course, Burnley, to try and get 100 points if they can win their last 2 games here. Good win against Sheffield United. Of course, they partied out. Is that going to potentially affect the players going into this game? It might do. QPR's form has certainly been on the up ever so recently. I've got to really praise their Good Friday performance against Preston. It was a very professional performance on that regard there. And I really do think they will make things difficult for this Burnley side. It's a tough one, but I think Burnley are going to go for it. I think they will be going for the title. I've been hearing, like Scott Parker in interviews, he really wants to get the title. And I don't believe he's actually won the title as a manager. Correct me if I'm wrong. He never won with Fulham. Definitely never won it with Bournemouth. So this will certainly be his first championship title. I mean, what a really positive way that he can get in his 3rd promotion to get a title. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Burnley. I don't think they'll be at their merry best because they don't really need to be. They're already promoted. But I do think QPR will be up for this. And I think because of that, Burnley will have to be challenged. I think a little bit like the Watford game. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next up, we've got Blackburn versus Watford. I would have put this game down as being a game that didn't mean anything, but Blackburn's recent form has now made this game quite interesting. So Blackburn are one of the very few sides who can still get a playoff place mathematically. They are a little bit against it due to the fact they are 4 points behind Coventry. They ideally need Coventry to lose their game against Luton and for them to win that game. If they can do that, they will be 1 point off 6th. That will really make things really quite exciting. But of course, they'll be looking very carefully to see what Millwall are doing as well and what Middlesbrough are doing as well, because they are also gunning for those playoff places too. It could be a really congested part of the table after this game week. Watford, I mean, they've really been on the beach for quite a few weeks now, and it has shown in their recent performances. They lost narrowly against Portsmouth this time around, narrowly against Burnley. So either way, even for the fact that they're losing games, they're actually been quite competitive scoreline-wise in this game. But Blackburn have turned a corner. I would argue maybe a bit too late for them to go on a playoff charge now, but if they can somehow get it, that would be certainly papering the cracks on all the issues that have been going around with Blackburn all season. But it would be an amazing achievement for this Blackburn side to get top 6 for the first time since being promoted back from League One, all the way back in 2018. As a prediction, I think this game will have goals. I cannot lie. I think there will be many, many goals. I'm going to go for a 3-2 victory, maybe. Yeah, 3-2 victory to Blackburn. I see loads of goals. Blackburn being at home, I think they can get a result. Watford, I think, will make a meal of this and will give it a go. But I think Blackburn will just edge out based on the positive momentum. Next up, we've got Cardiff versus West Brom. Both of these sides being rather talked about at this stage of time. Cardiff negatively because they are looking like that they are going to suffer a relegation to League One. It is fully against Cardiff. I mean, not impossible. It is still only a 3-point gap for them from safety. But they had a huge missed opportunity to get 3 points against Oxford. That Cameron Brannigan free kick, an absolute peach of a strike. But it could be a real dagger in the hearts of Cardiff fans, because I think that goal there has really made things really difficult now for Cardiff to stay up. I would have backed them to beat West Brom. However, West Brom have announced recently that they've parted company with Tony Mowbray. So with 2 games left, who knows what version of West Brom we're going to get. I definitely know we're going to get big players leaving after this season with contracts running out. I think Dean Garner and John Swift are 2 examples of those types of players. I sense loads of change with West Brom, but it could mean in their last 2 games they really want to try and go on a high. So it's just made things very awkward and very difficult to predict in this one. Gosh, I mean, I think Cardiff will be going for it more. They've got more to play for, of course. They've got Championship safety to try and grasp. Tough one this, but prediction, I'll go for a draw, and that will pretty much confirm Cardiff going down, but they will need to rely on results. It doesn't confirm Cardiff going down a draw, but it will be very unhelpful based on what is going on, and the fact that they'll be looking very carefully on how that Luton game goes. If Luton pick up a win, oh my goodness me, it's going to put so much pressure on Cardiff. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think the pressure's going to be on, and I just don't think Cardiff have gotten them bottle based on their winless run at the moment, that they will be picking up a win anytime soon, sadly. So 1-1, and I think that will send Cardiff down, unfortunately, Cardiff fans. Let me know how you found this season in the comments down below. Now to, I think, one of the biggest games of the season, Hull versus Derby. I've already spoken about the importance of the game between Luton and Coventry, with that being played first. If Luton get a win, they'll overtake both Hull and Derby. And it would encourage both of the sides to really attack each other to try and get a win. But more so for Derby, because Derby will then be 3 points behind Luton if Luton do pick up that win and Derby fail to get a win at all. For Hull's point of view, because they're already 2 points clear of Luton, they might be thinking if they can draw that game, regardless of what result the Luton game goes, they can still be ahead of Luton come to the final day of the season. Now, they might not want that. They've got Portsmouth away on the final day of the season, and I think Portsmouth away will be a tricky game. So I still would look at this thinking that both sides will be wanting to win. But if Coventry do manage to get a result and Luton drop points, maybe Hull and Derby could look at this game thinking, right, I think a draw might be one of the more beneficial things for both of them there, because it will keep them, it still will keep them in a little bit of danger, but it will ever so slightly maintain the pressure and keep it all in Luton's hands to try and escape the drop. This game, my goodness me, I've been going back and forth with my thoughts. Hull picked up a great win against Preston. 2 penalties. I don't think they were amazing in that game, but they got the result, and that was what was key. I was physically really impressed with Derby. They were devastating going forward and were very, very clinical. And I just think with their momentum and how brilliant they've been going forward, I could see Derby snatching this. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Derby. I'm going to be a little bit brave, and I'm going to go with a team to win. I think a draw would be safe, and I was thinking it, but I'm actually going to be a bit brave, and I'm going to say Derby to win. What that will mean is that Derby will overtake Hull going into the final day of the season, and depending how Luton get on, Hull could find themselves in the bottom three. I mean, that is absolutely amazing, you know, the drama that we're going to see within the Championship come this final game week. I mean, you could barely scratch your eyes. It's going to be unstoppable drama, and I'm all here for it. Let me know what you think of this very game in the comments down below. Is it one of the most important Championship games we've seen in recent history? Let me know. I feel like I just keep talking through important games, but that's because this game week is really cooking up some really important games. We've got Middlesbrough and Norwich. Now, for Norwich, it's really like not any part of any importance. I guess the thing that is important, Johannes Hansforup has left Norwich. I mean, I wasn't too surprised with that, unfortunately. It's been a terrible season for Norwich's standards. Jack Wilshere is going to be leading Norwich in the dugout. I mean, that really makes me feel a little bit old, if I've got to be honest. But that's going to be very peculiar to see how Norwich set up through here. Middlesbrough, though, it's all on them. They had such a big opportunity to capitalise on Coventry and Bristol City dropping points, and they failed to take it. They lost to Sheffield Wednesday, who were winless in their last 6 or 7 games. So Middlesbrough have had one too many occasions all season where they've just failed to capitalise on these really big chances. This could be another one of those situations, especially with the added uncertainty of how the team for Norwich is going to set up with Jack Wilshere now leading the way. But I just think with Middlesbrough's home form, I think they have shown a bit of grit. I think they have shown some good quality at home. Hence why they've got a much stronger goal difference compared to the other sides fighting for the top 6. That will be Middlesbrough's biggest advantage. It'll be their goal difference. I'm going to go for a Middlesbrough 3-1 win. I think they will take their chances here, and I think they will get the points. And with me predicting Coventry not to win and Middlesbrough winning, it means that Middlesbrough will overtake Coventry come the final day of the season, and Coventry play against Middlesbrough in their final game. Oh my goodness me, I would not want to review the heart rate monitor of Matt SB, because I don't think I could handle that sort of stress and pressure, I tell you. Goodness me, but I'm going to go for a Middlesbrough win, and it will certainly add a bit of spice to the playoff race. Another very important game, we've now got Millwall against Swansea. So the importance of this game is Millwall. So Millwall have a big chance actually to try and get into the playoffs. They were one of the bigger winners actually from Easter Monday, picking up their win against Norwich. It was a really good response considering how poor they were against Blackburn. And I actually think apart from that game, Millwall have really been building some really good things with their squad in the moment. But they're facing the informed team, Swansea City, who are picking up wins left, right and centre and could be, going for a really strong finish, Swansea. They are certainly looking like that they're going to be within the top 10, and that is a really amazing achievement for Swansea to be in, considering the position they found themselves literally months ago. So amazing turnaround by them. It's hard to go against Swansea based on their form, but it's also hard to go against Mill because they've been improving themselves and they've got so much more to go for. They could sense, they'll be looking at that Luton game, and if Luton do beat Coventry, they will be looking at this game, Mill, as a really important must-win game to try and get into the playoffs. Oh, blimey. So, as a prediction, I'm going to go for a draw. I can't go against Swansea. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and that will be a bit unhelpful for Millwall, and they will just be hoping that results around them could still keep them in the race for the top 6, but it will give them so much more to do on the final day. They ought to win this Millwall if they want to have a strong chance of getting to the top 6. So the stakes are raised. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. We've got another very important game, guys. We've got Oxford going up against Sunderland. However, does that Cameron Brannigan free kick save Oxford? Me personally, it gives them a really big chance. Their goal difference, Oxford, is not very strong compared to the other sides around them in that region of the table. However, it is marginally better than the current bottom 3. That is a good advantage for them to have. As long as they don't lose heavily, or any team in the bottom 3 wins by a large scoreline, it's likely their goal difference is not going to swing. So they do have a 3-point gap, ideally a 4-point gap based on their slightly better goal difference. However, they're facing a Sunderland side which, position-wise, looks very, very intimidating for Oxford. However, we have seen Oxford at home be a completely different beast. They have been picking up some really good results at home all season. The Sheffield United one certainly stands out to me. And Sunderland have just been heavily rotated, and they've really struggled for goals recently. So I could see Oxford picking up a win here. And Oxford will know a win will keep them up. I mean, if you can get to 52 points, you're safe. Absolutely, you're safe. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Oxford. I think they've got the momentum on their side. I think they've got the grit. I think they've got the experience of Gary Rowett to get them out of the relegation mire. If they do lose this game, it might send a couple of nerves going into the final day of the season. However, I do back this Oxford squad. I do back Gary Rowett. And with Sunderland being heavily rotated and their form really going down a cliff, I think that's a big opportunity for Oxford to get 3 points, and I think they'll take it. Now, next up is Preston and Plymouth. We've got to now talk about Preston because they are now considered a team danger for relegation. They're only 3 points clear of the current bottom three. If they lose this game, they could ideally find themselves in a very difficult position, and they're facing a Bristol City side on the final day of the season who will be, if they have not secured playoffs by that point, Bristol City, they'll be really going for that game to try and secure playoffs. So there's lots riding with how all these games are going to go. Both are going to be looking at that Luton game too. It's going to be very, very important to see what happens, because if Luton do pick up a win, they will match Preston for points. They won't overtake them because their goal difference is quite significantly worse than Preston's. But more so, it will mean that it's pretty much impossible for Plymouth to stay up. It will pretty much confirm Plymouth's relegation. And that might give Preston a little bit of an advantage, that they might feel a little bit better off knowing that one of the relegation places have been filled, and Plymouth could feel a bit dejected themselves. However, if points are dropped, it could get really fiercely competitive, especially for Plymouth's point of view. If they see that Luton drop points, I think Plymouth will smell blood and they will go for it. And in the past couple of games, that's exactly what we've seen for Plymouth. Just fight, determination. And that's the one thing we've really not seen for Preston. If anything, they've been on the beach for a matter of weeks, and I think they've overstayed their welcome, because right now, I think they could potentially fall in a trapdoor of relegation if they do not pick up a good result here. A draw for me secures it, because it means it'll send Plymouth down, and it means that Preston will still give themselves a decent amount of breathing space from the teams around them. I think that's actually what's going to happen. I think Plymouth might actually score first, but I think Preston will grow into it and they will actually get something from there. I mean, for the first goal, it's going to be so important here for this one, I think. It's tough, but Plymouth's away form has really been problematic for me all season, and I just don't think they'll get their second away win here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. A win for Plymouth literally wouldn't surprise me with how they're playing at the moment, but I think Preston will hold their nerve. They'll contain them. They'll get the draw, will relegate Plymouth, and they will pretty much be within touching distance of staying up themselves. I mean, goodness me, it's cutthroat this. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Finally, after important game after important game, we've got two games which actually give me a little bit of a calmer sense, especially this one, Sheffield Wednesday and Portsmouth. Not much is really riding on this one. Sheffield Wednesday know they're going to be in the Championship next season, and so are Portsmouth, because Portsmouth have really picked up their form as of late, especially with their home form. Their away form leaves me more to be desired, but so does Sheffield Wednesday's home form. But they picked up a rare home win, a great result actually, to turn it around completely against Middlesbrough, a real sign of character. Is this going to be an opportunity where maybe Sheffield Wednesday play well at home, maybe to give Danny Rose a send-off? I know he's been linked with a couple of managerial jobs actually in the Championship, so certainly we could see lots of changes. I think very similar to the likes of Norwich and West Brom as well. I think we'll see a lot of change go down with Sheffield Wednesday. Portsmouth will be wanting to build on from their brilliant season into next season, but I think certainly they'll be wanting to try and end the season on a high. I think as a prediction, this is going to be one of your typical on-the-beach performances where we could either see little goals or plenty of goals. I'm going to go for the latter because that's more entertaining. I'm going to go for a wacky 2-2 draw. I sense both of them getting a point, and yeah, I think we'll see loads of goals in this one. Our last game to predict is Leeds and Bristol City. So I said that this one was going to be stress-free, but there is a little bit riding on this one, a little bit of tension, but it's a little bit less intensified. So Leeds, of course, confirmed as champions after that Burnley and Sheffield United game, but they certainly were already in the party mood for beating Stoke by 6-0. Joel Pirro, what an unbelievable individual performance he has done, and he's really put himself in contention for the Golden Boot now within the Championship as well. Bristol City, it was a rare defeat for them, and certainly on the road has certainly shown some inconsistencies, but they'll face the Luton Town side, who are clearly fighting for their lives, so I wouldn't really put that against Bristol City. This game's going to be interesting. I don't know how Leeds are going to set up. I know there's been a bit of noise about Daniel Farm potentially losing his job beforehand, starting in the new season. Could that make things a bit disruptive? Could potentially, and that could affect Leeds in a way. Bristol City, I mean, they are pretty much nearly there. They're 4 points clear of playoffs. They got away with one, Bristol City, last time out. For them losing against Luton, for the fact that Middlesbrough did not pick up a win, that was massive for them. And Coventry not picking up a win was massive for them as well. They still maintain a 4-point gap from the chasing pack in the playoffs. So, I don't need to do the maths here to tell you, regardless of what all results will be in the Championship, Bristol City will be in the playoffs come the final game week of the season. Obviously, it could still swing on that final game they play against Preston, but a good result here will seal it. It will absolutely seal it. Not the ideal game for Bristol City to play, though, because we do know what Leeds can do on a day. You only need to see what they did to Stoke. If they do that here, I think they will beat Bristol City. As a prediction, I don't think Leeds will be at their best, a bit similar with Burnley, but I still think they've got enough in the tank to get 3 points. I'm going to go for a 2-1. They are also another team who could get over 100 points if they win their last 2 games. I mean, to see 2 teams win over 100 points, I think will be amazing. I don't even remember if that's been done before. The closest I can remember is potentially the Newcastle and Brighton season, but it didn't quite happen. Maybe this could be the season where that does happen. Let me know what you think of this game in the comments down below. We are now nearly at 1:30 in the morning, but it is all worthwhile. What an amazing set of games to go over today. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching today. It really is massively appreciated. If you can hit the like button, subscribe and share, it really does help the growth of this channel. Regarding stuff that will be happening in the future and future content, that will come within due course on availability and other opportunities that I might get as well. But just keep your eyes peeled. There will be more things on the horizon. That's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary in this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.